Hello, my name is Jane Sherfy, and today I will be teaching about how to write a bill as part of a unit on the legislative process. So the standard that I will be focusing on today is USG 3.9, explain how a bill becomes a law in the legislative process of the United States and in the state of Indiana. Now I will begin teaching the class. So, hello class, we're continuing on our unit on the legislative branch of the government, on what the legislative process looks like. Last class we looked at the different steps that a bill takes to become a law. We learned what a bill is, that it's an idea to try to fix a problem of some sort, and it can become a law, but it doesn't always become a law. So we looked at that last class, and we also read some bills to get an idea of what they look like, what format they're written in. And today we're actually going to write our own bills. And then next class, we will be doing a simulation, acting out the legislative branch of the government to vote and pass the bills that we think should be made into laws. So for starters, today you'll be able to identify a problem within your own community and describe it in very concrete terms, and then come up with a solution to try to address that problem and put all of that into the bill format. Now, I'd like you all to turn your attention to the template. I had you guys do the brainstorming what problems are in your community as homework. So pull that out. You've got that whole list of different problems you see, and we worked on picking one and describing it without talking about a solution at all. Because the first thing you have to do when you have a problem is you have to understand that problem from all different sides, like we described. So let's pull out this template that I posted on our online classroom. Everybody open it up. It's titled How to Write a Bill. Now you'll notice there's some instructions here at the beginning, kind of laying out what the different sections are. We're going to scroll right past that just for now, because Ms. Sherfy is going to write her bill with you guys, and then we'll work together. And those instructions are just to help you out. For if you forget maybe what Ms. Sherfy wrote, or you need a little extra explanation, those are there for you. So let's scroll down to that second page where we can see the template with all the different blue boxes. So the first box, don't worry, this one's easy. The author, that's your name, you wrote it. So this one, the author is going to be Miss Sherfy. And then the bill number, so the bill number is just a number that we use to identify what bill it is and to keep track of it, because sometimes titles can get really long. So just make up a number for your bill, and then the title of your bill. So the problem that I decided to address is I live in Indianapolis, and there are a lot of potholes here, so many. And so a specific problem that I want to address is on the street that I live on, Smith Street. There is a really big pothole in the middle of the road, and it's damaged my car before, and I know the other neighbors complain about it. It's damaging people's cars, it's in the way. It's a problem on my street. So my title is the Smith Street Pothole Repair Act of 2019. And in your title, it has to include the word act. That is how we write titles when we write a bill. So you'll see the next section, this is where we really get into writing. This one is what we call the preamble. And this is 1 to 2 sentences describing what your problem is and why it's important. Make sure when you're writing this, you answer the question, why should old rich people care, right? Why should everybody care about your problem? It's your problem. You have to say why everybody should care about this issue. So, my argument is lots of people drive down my street and it's damaging cars. This pothole in the middle of the street is damaging cars. It doesn't look pretty. It is not making the neighborhood out to be what it's supposed to be. So that is my 1 to 2 sentences. I'm just gonna write that up real quick. Next, we move on to the body of the bill. And this is where you're gonna spend the majority of your time working. So section 1, you're going to describe the problem in more depth, at least a paragraph. Do not discuss the solution in this section. This is only about the problem. You are only complaining, you are not fixing it, you are describing in the most concrete terms, what is this problem? So, and if you'll notice, question 1 on the worksheet that you completed for homework is going to be basically, the answer is basically going to be your section 1. So if you wrote a really good answer to question 1 on your worksheet, section 1 is going to be really easy. You can basically just copy it right there. Just maybe make a few little changes, double check your grammar. So I wrote, there is a pothole on Smith Street on the 3400 block that is causing damage to the cars in the area. It is located in the middle of the block and is 4 inches deep and 2 feet across. I lost my hubcap going over this pothole. You see how I didn't talk about at all how this problem was going to be fixed. All I did was tell you what the problem was. Section 1 is just defining the problem. Section 2, write your solution. Remember, when you're writing like you are a representative of the government. You work up in City Hall or, in Washington, D.C. or what have you. So write the solution like you have the power to actually do it. You're not asking somebody nicely. No, excuse me, you work there. This is a problem you want fixed. You're gonna write the solution like you definitely can make this happen. So my solution is, on Tuesday, July 2nd, a road construction crew will come and fix the pothole. Okay, so that's section 2. And then section 3 is right where you're gonna get the funding from. And you don't have to look for donations or something like that. Remember, you're writing this as if you're a member of the government. You have access to different funds. What's the fund that makes the most sense for your bill? Some bills will not need funding. That is possible, but most will. In my case, the funding for this project will be taken out of the Public Works Fund. The Public Works Fund that the City of Indianapolis has and the State of Indiana has is for making sure that things that are public, like streets, sidewalks, that type of thing, that fund is to keep them maintained. Well, the street I live on is a public street. The pothole is a problem on public property, so the Public Works Fund should pay for it. So the funding will come from the Public Works Fund. And finally, the enactment clause. That's our last box. See that last blue box? The enactment clause is where you write a date that if this bill becomes a law, this is when it's all gonna get done, right? Like, because sometimes you make a law that things change, right? All of a sudden, some new behavior is illegal, or you have to have, new colored garbage cans out for the garbage pickup, whatever. But you need to give people a little bit of time. You pass the bill, and you need a little bit of time for people to buy the new garbage can, or get aware that they got to change their behavior on a certain thing, or what have you. So you got to give this little pocket of time for the message to get out, the logistics to get figured out. But by this date, it's all gonna get done. Okay, so that's the enactment clause. That would be like if I gave you homework and was like, okay, so this homework, here's what you do. It's due now. Well, I don't do that. You have this much time to get it done, and then once the due date hits, it better be turned in, right? This is your due date. This is when it's got to be turned in. So my enactment clause says this bill will be enacted by July 2nd, 2019, because that is the date that I said that it was going to have to be fixed on, right? So writing a bill isn't actually as hard as we thought it was going to be, right? You just break it down to the different sections. We've already worked through identifying problems. We've already worked through how to figure out what a good solution is. So here's how you know if you're on track for this assignment. 1, did you fill out the template fully and follow all those instructions? 2, did you identify a problem in your community and describe it? And then 3, did you come up with a concrete solution to help fix it? Okay? Those are the 3 things I'm going to be looking for when I'm grading these bills. Now for the next part of class, I'm going to move you guys through it, try to keep you on pace, help you stay on track. So we're going to start with, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to get the author section and the bill number section done. 2 minutes. And then I'll check in on you guys and we'll talk a little bit more in depth on how to write a titled bill and so on and so forth. Now, if you need more time and me stopping you and you're saying, oh no, Miss Sherfy, I'm getting behind, that's okay. Remember, this is due by next class. If you don't have it done this class, that's okay. I'm just here to help you and make sure that I reinforce those explanations and make sure you know exactly what you need to do at each part. So we're gonna work through it together, but I don't want you to stress or panic if you feel like you're getting behind, because remember, you're not getting behind. It's due next class. As long as you get it done by next class, you're fine. And in the middle, we'll have a time for sharing to kind of discuss, this is the problem that I picked, and this is the solution that I'm trying for, so that we can work together as a group to kind of see like, well, that makes sense, or like maybe you could adjust this, or maybe it would make more sense to do it this way. So the different resources that you have to accomplish this assignment are, first of all, me, Miss Sherfy. I am here to help you. Secondly, you have this template that lays out very carefully what all the steps are. Remember, you have those instructions at the beginning for you if you need to refresh or remind yourself, or you just like reading better than hearing instructions. They're there. You have my example bill. You have that already ready to use. And you have the problem identification worksheet that we worked on. And we have those bill analyses that we talked about last class. So you've seen what an actual bill looks like. You kind of have an idea. If you want to pull those worksheets and resources out from last class to kind of remind yourself what these look like, you can do that. So those are all the things that you have available in your toolkit to work on this assignment. And please don't hesitate to ask questions. As always, advocate for yourself. If you need something to be changed or adjusted, or just need a little extra help, let me know, and we can work together to find a solution that works for both of us, okay? Well, I'm excited to dive into this assignment with you guys, and let's get going on that activity. Thanks.